or McGregor.
So we're going to move on to Sideline 7. So it's the same 7 questions for every single guest. It can be fire round or thought-provoking. It's up to yourself. Question 1, what is your favourite quote?
Yeah, favorite quote that we actually got a few good ones on the podcast because we asked a similar kind of round. So I think one of them was like, the talent, hard work will be talent when talent doesn't work hard. I like that one. But my one personally, I've gone back years. If you want like an actual quote that's I've tried, I wouldn't be a massive quotes man myself, but I do think, I can't give you the formula for success, but I can give you the formula for failure, and that's try to please everybody. And I think that's a really important thing for people to know. Like, no matter what you do in life, in all walks of life, and anything you want to do, you're never going to please everybody. So you've got to make sure that you're doing what's right for you. And if you're worrying, like if I'm typing up an article going, I wonder what these supporters will think, or I wonder what this person will think, or I wonder what this person will think, and I'm trying to please to make these 3 people happy, you're never going to do that. You're actually going to end up with none of them happy. So you're better off, for example, in that situation, just giving your opinion on things. And in all walks of life, as I said, people kind of focus too much on other people's opinions. Yes, you should take them in, but that's definitely the form of failure. If you're going around trying to please everybody, you're not going to get anywhere. So I like that one because there is no formula for success, but there's plenty of ways you can fail, and one of them is, as the quote goes, like, try to please everybody. So
absolutely, I actually really like that one. I'm gonna rob that from you. I'm like yourself. I'm mad into the quotes. It's my mum laughs at me all the time. It's nearly a problem. Kind of chatting about obviously this year there's no supporters, and looking like next year the same. But what is the best sporting event you've been to?
Well, I think we touched on it earlier. Like, I love semi-finals atmosphere because you're all there. Anyone that wants to go can go to them. So straight away, when I think of Dublin's victories, I'm not as massively into the Dubs after the 5 in a row, because I think supporters in general, we love failure. You love the journey to success, and then when you get there, you don't want to be winning 6 All-Irelands in a row. Like, you do, obviously you do, but don't get me wrong. But so it wasn't the 2011 All-Ireland final; it was actually the 2013 All-Ireland semi-final. Again, because like anyone that wanted to go got to go. So there was about 8 or 10 of us in Hill 16, and at the game's level, it's probably one of the best games of Gaelic football ever played. The atmosphere was ridiculous. Like, I just remember like 5 minutes ago going, there's something different about this game, and it's going ahead. It's going to be a draw. Like, all the goals happened in the first half, so it was just a shootout in the second half points wise. But it basically, the ball broke to Kevin McManamon, and he kind of hit it, and the shock factor, I think, of the ball going in, because he kind of went to kick it over the bar, the old aim for the crossbar, and it went in.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't ready for the celebrations. Like, we kind of there was a guy beside us who we didn't know, who was, entertaining us the whole game with his one-liners. So you get that a lot on the hill, but we ended up just from the 8th row to like the 2nd row very quickly. And lads were like, a couple of lads, my mates came, who weren't that big into that, and they were just like, and everyone just erupted. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
And I do think All Ireland semi-finals are special because everyone's there. Like, there's 40,000, whatever the split is, maybe 50,000 Dubs and 30,000 Kerry fans, and it was just amazing. And at that time, Dublin had messed up the All Ireland in 2012. They won it in 11. Everyone was considering a lucky All Ireland in Kerry anyway. Have a lot of Kerry cousins, so it was a nice one, definitely. So the Kevin McManaman goal. So that whole game was unbelievable. And I just remember walking out of Croke Park, and everyone was just like this, walking around like if you were still recovering from it. And I don't think that's been replicated in any game that I've been to with the Dubs. Like, there's been a lot of unbelievable games, but I think that one sticks out. 13 semi-final. Like.
Yeah, I was actually at that game as well, and
brilliant.
Incredible. Yeah, really good game. And I was actually in the lower Davin, and not too close, but close enough for Paul Mannion's goal. I remember that coming in.
Knocked it in, didn't he? Yeah.
Knocked it in, and I have to say, watching him going up for that, it was like he was hanging in the air. It was just incredible. Watching it back, I have to say as well, I think is one of the greatest football games I've ever seen.
And I think a big thing, like when you watch games back, because you watch them a lot, and like Darren Maloney would only ever get the All-Ireland semi-finals, but I think he's like the best commentator hands down. And him and Kevin McStay were commentating on the game, and if you watch the 20-minute highlights or whatever they are on YouTube, it still gives me goosebumps. Like when that Cluxon's kick out goes long, and because he went long because he'd no options. Like, he was just a kick and hope, and like the Kerry could easily have won that game, but Dublin won. It was brilliant. Like you said, the atmosphere was just unbelievable.
Absolutely. Biggest setback or challenge so far in your career?
Biggest, I guess, like, early on in the podcast, I think this is naturally with podcasts, they get kind of into the charts to start with, just to give a new podcast a chance. It's just the way the algorithm works in Apple Podcasts. But you're always going to get, like, the journey to success is what they say. It's never a straight line. It's ups and downs. So I guess like some days you do, like you said, you think you did a good at podcasts, and it doesn't do what you think, and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? What do I need to, there's a lot of setbacks. So I think they've been setbacks. I was kind of ready for that. I guess the advantage of not starting the podcast till June, I had a lot of time to read up on them, and that's a big thing. Is people give up early on because they, the numbers they're hitting at the start they don't quite get. So they've been my big setbacks. Like for a while, like, and it's still the numbers are they're not as high as you'd like to think. Like but in a dream world, you think I'd get thousands and thousands and thousands. It doesn't work like that. So that's definitely been a setback and a challenge. It still is, and it's just learning to keep doing what you're doing, but also learn to improve as well. It's not a case of just, if you're looking at what I use like Spotify for podcasts, where you're looking, okay, some episode, we might do an hour and a half show and like 70 or 80% of people listen to the end. And then we might do a 30-minute show and, 30% of people listen to the end. So you're like, even though you've done an hour longer, people listen if it's good. So the old saying, like, the market's always right. The people that listen, they're always right. So if they don't like it, they don't like it. Like, there's a reason for it. So that's the challenge, constantly learning, trying to, learn, but also don't get too downhearted either if it's not working out. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, something I caught myself doing a lot, still do sometimes, is a lot of comparison with other podcasts. Like you were saying, you don't get the views. Well, why did he get the views, or why did she get the views? But it's just you're going down this rabbit hole of you're never gonna, if you're looking to be up there against, like, for example, let's say I was looking to be at the same level as Tackling Sport or better. Like, you're never going to be happy then because you're busy chasing somebody else, whereas you should be just chasing your own success, really.
100%. Like I was actually like that now that you said it at the start, definitely. Where now I couldn't even tell you anyone's figure. You know what I mean? Not that I don't care, but I've kind of focused a lot more. I feel like even though I've only been doing it 6 months, I've been doing it for years in my head. Like, so it's just focus on your own self. You want, it's that whole thing. Like, you want people to do well. Like, and sometimes it's not a natural thing. So like, I definitely would found that just in general, like, you see people doing well. Maybe a few years back, I might have been wishing them well in my head. Just your own kind of, I don't know what the word for it is. Like, whereas now I definitely feel like I see someone doing well, not just in podcasts, but in general, and I'm, without swearing, I'm genuinely really delighted for them. And you've got to get yourself into that mindset. And sometimes it's not a case of genuinely being delighted them early on. I'm talking maybe early on trying to change that mindset. It's just maybe almost pretend to do it, and then eventually you get. So I'm definitely at the stage where if I see someone doing well, I'm genuinely really happy for them. But it wasn't always the case, and people might be like that sometimes. You might see a post on social media and just in general that does really well. Why is that person posting all the time? I was definitely like that a few years ago, where now, especially the podcast itself, where I really am, you want people to see people doing well, but people don't, it's not always a natural thing for everybody, because it's just I think it's sometimes it's your instincts, why is, you might, because you're not, maybe you don't feel like your posts are getting the recognition they deserve. But definitely just being, if you get to the mindset of being more happy for other people's success, it definitely helps you in your life, because you're not holding that grudge all the time. I think we Owen Kelly, we were speaking to on the podcast, he brought that up, or between the two of us we were saying that, and it's definitely true. Like, if you can just see people's posts, genuinely be happy for them, even though if you might not be, it just saves you that negative energy, and it's a big part of like getting into the mental wellness and stuff like that. It's a big part of that too. So yeah, that's definitely one advice.
Yeah, that's something that I always enjoy a good podcast. And if I've really enjoyed it, like, I've reached out to yourselves, like anyone who I listen to since starting the podcast, I've realized how much effort it is, and it is hard to do a good interview, and it's hard to have a really good engaging chat. And I'll always message the person and be like, look, that was brilliant, like, I love that, because it's until you do the podcast, you don't realize how difficult it is. And I would have been, before starting, to be like, Jesus, what are they doing? Like, that's easy, like, but it's not. It is difficult. What is your biggest achievement on or off the pitch?
I suppose on the pitch with Gal, like, it would be, we did like 4 promotions in 6 years. We were right at the bottom of Division 11 in Dublin football, or Division 10 South as it was at the time, and now we're in the dizzy heights of Division 6. But for those that don't play Gal or just into soccer, like Leinster Senior Leagues, in Gal we don't call ourselves Major 3, Major 1 when we're like Division 6. We just call ourselves Division 6, like proper adults, where in soccer it's very like Premier. If you're in Leinster Senior Premier on Sunday, my understanding is you're like Division 6 or 7, but they don't like calling themselves that. But yeah, we're moving up. We're moving up the ranks. We're in the Junior A Championship. I think being part of that success, a small part of it, with the group of players there, was brilliant. Off the pitch, definitely setting up Tackling Sport. And no matter what happens now, the rest of it, I'll always have that. Do you know what I mean? It'll always stay going in some capacity. So yeah, definitely those two things, on and off.
Next question: advice to your 18-year-old self.
Well, realizing how big, like, video content and audio content is. Getting ahead of the curve doing that at 18 would be nice.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw something there yesterday. Your man from Mrs. Brown's Boys, Rory Counter, used to be in it, and I've no interest in that. I don't follow him. He just came with my feeds because someone I follow liked his tweet, and it was just a minute 15 video. I have no interest in what he has to say. That's just I don't know him. Like, and I watched the video just because it's a 1 minute 15 clip on my Twitter feed. Mm-hmm. So taking that back a step and being able to constantly produce audio and video content about sports back then or even now is people's attention. Like, people love videos. Mm-hmm. Love audio content. So I guess would start all this what I'm doing now earlier, but at the same time, like, you know, I do feel having that extra 8 years is kind of probably stop caring about what other people think. I definitely had a lot of that right up to this year. Still do. Like, I think it's a natural thing. So yeah, those two things really, like, produce in any form, written, audio or video, and stop caring what other people think.
Yeah, that's a good one. Dream dinner guest and why?
Yes, I don't want to say Roy Keane again. I do think Roy Keane would be very good. I do think someone like Jim Gavin, because you don't know. You know, I want to know what Jim Gavin's like after a couple of glasses of wine or what's any kind of nuggets or anything, because he's so like controllable. What he did with Dublin in terms of and Pat Gilroy to an extent as well. So I'd say to change it up, I'd go Jim Gavin, not because everyone think that's an incredibly boring, you know, dinner guest, but I do think there's another side to Jim Gavin. I know he does great work in I think it's Robert Emmons he's involved in, or sorry, Round Towers. Sorry, I get mixed up with those two. Round Towers, Clondalkin. So yeah, I think I'll go Jim Gavin.
That's a good choice. Last question: if your life was a book, what chapter would this be called?
I'd go for something like I like to building up, I guess. So if you're reading that, going, geez, this he's doing now, this must lead to something amazing. even though I have no idea what that's going to be. Yeah, I'll go with the build up, again, like most, I wasn't only really recently got into this, you know, world, I guess, journalism, sports, podcasts and stuff. So I'd say building up. I'll go building up as opposed to the build up. Yeah, just keep it exciting. It doesn't have to be ending at the end, but by then people have already read the book, so it's paid for it. Like,
this is keeping the suspense. This is why people need to go to Tackling Sport. I haven't got it written yet,
but and slow down, I don't catch up. But I'll go building up. Yeah, building up. That's the name of the chapter. Yeah. Great question.
That's a good one. So Daniel, look, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on and sharing all your opinions and views and everything. I'll be sure to link everything in the description. If you're into sport at all, be sure to go check out Tackling Sport. Thanks a million, Daniel, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. Or thanks a million for having us on, and best of luck with Sideline.
Really, thanks a million.
Cheers.
A massive thank you to Daniel for coming on today. Be sure to check out Tackling Sport, which is available on all podcast platforms, social media, and their own website, www.tacklingsport.com. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a rating and review. And if you're interested in starting up your very own podcast, be sure to get in touch with the Primal Productions team over on Instagram @PrimalPro.